2023, the year in review. Good morning and welcome to In the Car with Clint. I'm just heading to Dry Creek to do some final, stitching up of some open loops that we need to close off before the end of the year. And I want to talk about the year that was and reflect on, what happened and what I was doing and what I did and how it was, etc. And this is a video that I kind of had in my mind a week or two ago. I asked the admin team to punch me out some numbers around growth and how much our turnover had increased, how much our staff numbers had increased, all that kind of jazz. And I don't know, I guess it was to flex in a way and be like, hey, look, this is what I've done, or this is what we've done. And then I'll tell you the data because some of you might be interested. But in doing so, I kind of was like, does it matter? Right? Like, what happened this year that matters? And at the start of the year, I made a semi-conscious decision to have a gap year, which is what I was calling it, where I would have less pressure on myself around certain things. Obviously, we still have targets and goals and budgets to adhere to, but we weren't going to acquire any new businesses. It was really just a cruisy year. We had some, minor growth in the businesses as far as turnover goes, but most of that, to be honest, has probably been picked up in price rises. Inflation's caused our growth more than anything. And so I had this intention to have a gap year, so I was being more focused on doing things that I wanted to do. So this year, I probably woke up to an alarm, 50 times. And this probably frustrates my wife more than anyone else, but I just figured I would rest until I was finished resting, and then I'd wake up and then I'd just go in what I needed to go in. So I wasn't having morning meetings, and I was trying to be a bit more fluid with my diary and my calendar, which I think for creative people, which I consider myself a creative person, the fluidity of that calendar movement enabled me to think a lot more. And I've been digesting a lot more in audiobooks and podcasts around predominantly business and life, and the focus has been, especially in the last 30 days, like what is going to make me the happiest and what's going to be the best use of my time, not just around wealth generation, but around happiness, right? Because the deeper you get into business and the more profit you make, the more people you'll meet and the more people you could meet that have more money than you would ever imagine wanting to have, but they're not happy for various reasons. And so off the back of having some pretty shitty anxiety through 2014, and then, I think I had one anxiety attack this year, which I kind of managed very well using techniques that I'd learned through NLP, through Tony. But I would definitely rather not have anxiety than have $10 million cash in the bank. And you can have both. You can have $10 million cash in the bank and not have anxiety. But I think sometimes as humans, we can push ourselves so close to the edge that the pain of the gain is not worth the gain, kind of thing. And obviously my health hasn't been a top priority for me this year, not all of the year. But spending time with family and traveling and that kind of thing has. And so next year, 2024, I think there'll be a lot more focus on maximizing the time, because I think you can get caught up going, I should be working on my business or spending time with my family or looking after my personal health. And the reality is, depending on how crazy you're going, you might only be able to do one or two of those things, but they all tie together, right? So if I look after my health and I spend time positive and quality time with my family, then I'll have the energy and the mental strength to concentrate on the growth of my business. And you can kind of do them. It just means that you can't go out and be a piece of shit, which I probably did a little bit this year. I think I'm getting better at not being a piece of shit. And when I say being a piece of shit, I'm talking about benders where I would consume more than 30 to 40 standard drinks and ruin the next day. So it's been good. I've obviously been to the US 4 times, and it's been good to get some perspective around the US market from a business standpoint, but also to find places in the world where I'd love to go back and see with my kids and my wife and go, look, this is what we experienced. How good is this? And so obviously off the back of what I was saying about waking up later, I've had breakfast with my kids most days, and I've probably taken my kids to school, I don't know, 10 or 15% of their school days this year. So it's been good. And I think that we can sometimes, as parents, underestimate the value of that. And also there's on the other side of it, like, you know, they'll probably grow up to be soft adults because they've had me around so much, and maybe a little bit of pain goes a long way. I'm joking, a little bit. So it's been a good year. Now, I obviously teased at the start of the video, I'll talk about the numbers. The majority of the growth of Hectagon this year has been in Lawn Hub. So Lawn Hub just had this mental explosion in September, where we were meant to do, I think the budget for September was 67, and we did 660. It was just nuts. That was part of the times when I was using my alarm, because there was one full-time staff member and then another staff member that was not meant to be full-time but got pushed into full-time, and it just broke. And I'd never seen anything like it in my business life that I'd been involved in from a management or an ownership standpoint. And it taught me a lot around planning and preparedness, etc. But there's just some shit you can't be ready for, and you just have to kind of grab it with both hands and run. So during that period, our staff numbers grew by 20%, but it was all Lawn Hub. I think WaterPro's staff went up by 1, Railway staff went up by 1, and Lawn Hub staff went up by 8, from 2 to 10. So turnover obviously went up by, I don't know, 2.5 million. But as I said before, a lot of that would be attributed to CPI and Lawn Hub's growth. 2024, I think we'll see a lot more growth. One of the advantages of us not growing this year is that there's money in the bank. And I've talked about this with multiple business owners, that as long as you keep growing, you'll never have any cash. And I know that's a stupid sentence, but the reality is if you grow 25% per annum and you're only making 10% net profit, you're just fighting to manage that growth, and you'll never have money in the bank because you're getting another vehicle, you're getting another, you know, 200 grand worth of stock on the floor, you're hiring 2 more staff, you're getting consultants in to do X, Y, and Z, you're getting more software licenses. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and until you stop and start, that debt starts to disappear, and then you're not hiring more people, you can't really keep that profit. Whereas this year, because of the growth, the pause in growth, if you can call it that, and the cash flow positive nature of Lawn Hub, everything gets paid for before it gets shipped, we have money in the bank, which has got me in a position now where I'm like, all right, we can now go look at acquisitions and new markets. So that's what 2024 is going to be all about. I think I talked about that in the last video. Lawn Hub launching outside of Australia. All of our trademarks are kind of nearly there. I think we've got 2 months left in a few countries, and barring any more action from our friends at the adult website, we should have the trademarks approved, and we can start selling, you know, pretty much in any of the Western countries. And I mean Japan and Indonesia, but I don't see them being massive markets. I don't think they'll understand the nuance of the double entendres. So, and then obviously WaterPro's kind of capped out in South Australia for our chosen markets. Like, and when I say chosen markets, there's a lot of customers that we choose not to deal with for various reasons, and it could be low margin, it could be that there's been situations where their staff have been, you know, over the top rude to our staff, and we just don't tolerate that. Or they choose not to deal with us because they think I'm a fuckhead, which there's a few of them out there. So for that, we really have to look at acquiring stores. Now, I don't want to start new stores. I was thinking about it this morning, actually. I think that the best way for us to grow our market share nationally is to go acquire stores that are either at the end of their energy run, so the owners are in their retirement years, or they're an inherited store that they can't be fucked with, or you know, divorce. That's a good one. Go pick up some divorcee stores. But if we can go acquire some stores and pick up for those interested, I think if we can buy stores that are turning over at least $3 million under management, maybe 4, that's what I'd be looking to do. So if anyone's watching this and they own an irrigation store in Australia and they're looking to get out, and I'm serious, send us a DM, unless you're in Western Australia. It's too far. So yeah, we're looking at Brisbane, New South Wales, Victoria, but yeah, just open to options at the moment. So 2024, I think, is going to be a pretty crazy year. I think it's going to be a year where I have to step up into a genuine strategic director role. I can't be doing any work. I can't be involved in spreadsheets and customer closing and whatever else. I still have customers that I have good relationships with that I guess consider managed, but I need to be able to be, working on the regulations overseas for us to sell Lawn Hub in certain regions. I need to be understanding, be able to, be in Brisbane for a week at a time to, do training and development or interviewing or whatever else. So I'm really excited about 2024. I think it's going to be a very pivotal year for me and my senior management team. I think that we have worked on the foundations required to do the next stage over the last stage, and we're not ready, and we never will be ready. And I think sometimes if you wait till you're ready, you'll never do it. And when I say ready, I'm talking like I have no experience running businesses outside of Australia, and I have no experience running businesses outside of South Australia. So there's going to be learnings there. Now, as long as those learnings don't cost us the house, then it's good. It's all about growth, right? And I think going back to the whole start of the gap year side of things, having manageable challenges for me keeps me happy and healthy. Not healthy, mentally healthy. And so going to, I think sometimes people, you can go, shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you'll land on the stars. If you have a mental breakdown at the stars and then lose your house, sometimes maybe not shooting for the moon was the greatest idea. And people will disagree with me on that, but I think you have to have thoughtful goals around the practical reality of you being able to achieve them. Like us growing WaterPro to 40 stores in 2024 without external investment and me having a complete mental breakdown, I don't think that's a realistic goal. So we'll open another store in 2024 and we'll launch Lawn Hub outside of Australia. If we can achieve both of those things well, I believe we will add 10 to 15 million Australian dollars to our top line revenue, which will push us close to 32 or 33. That's a good place to pull over, mate. I don't think he was doing anything wrong. Relax. And then we're a third of the way there. So yeah. Anyway, that's enough from me. 12 minutes and 30 seconds. If you've made it this far, I appreciate your attention and following along this crazy journey that is growing Hectagon. Have a wonderful day. Be kind to each other. Most importantly, be kind to yourself. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.